What's going on, guys and gals, and welcome to Good Reel Hunting. We're waiting for the good reels, so you don't have to. It's your boy Brad. The Bretman's right over here. Chris is right underneath us. We are on our third Daniel Craig Bond movie. If you don't know, right now we're in the process of doing the review series for Daniel Craig's James Bond flicks, leading up to No Time to Die on October the 8th, where we will review that one and rank his movies. So if you haven't seen our first two Bond reviews, we'll put a link for those over Brett's head right now, so you can check those out, and stay tuned for Spectre, which will be right around the corner. Boys, how we doing? Ready to get into Skyfall today, or what?
Man, I am more happier than just listening to a discussion from Silva about rats.
It's a damn rat, man.
I mean, it's a goddamn rat, man.
That's exactly what it is.
So, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, that clip will be played a lot throughout this stream. So if you're a fan of Ron Zombie's Halloween, you're really going to appreciate this review.
Right you are. Well, gentlemen, let's get into this thing a little bit. Brett, why don't you pull us up the card of the night here, showing... Ooh, that's what I like. Oh, man. Skyfall came out in 2012. Of course, November the 9th there. 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb, 92 tomato score with 86 audience, $200 million budget, bringing in over $1 billion worldwide gross there, and of course directed by Sam Mendes, his first of two flicks in a row here. Obviously very well acclaimed director, so it's going to be a good time here tonight.
Oh man, yes it is, and all these numbers look absolutely fantastic. I believe that IMDb score can go up just a little bit more, around the 8s, but the tomato rater's fine, and the audience score, to me, it could be a little higher, but I understand with the way they presented this film and what the film wanted to be, I understand the 86 score. And then, of course, I absolutely love the $1 billion in worldwide gross. That is fantastic. And Sam Mendes is the fucking man.
$1 billion.
Chris, what do you think about
$1 million
this?
Numbnuts. Man, I totally forgot this was 2012. It doesn't feel like that long ago, man. Like, I feel like I just saw this fucking thing. I mean, like in theaters, you know.
Okay. I was about to say, you did, just because you get ready.
No, I mean, like, I remember being like excited for this thing and seeing it in theaters, and it doesn't feel like it was almost 10 years ago. But yeah, I mean, all this is pretty par for the course for me. It all looks about what I would expect, and I will second that fact. I think Sam Mendes is the man. I love all of his movies. Maybe save for Spectre a little bit, but we'll save that for another episodic.
Yes, sir. So, are we ready to continue on here?
Hit it, Mr. Kent.
Give me the details.
Alrighty. Well, we got Mr. Bond, James Bond, played by Daniel Craig. This is his third Bond movie, and he's got two more left after this one. And all I can say, and I'll get into it, for me, this is his best flick.
Oh, no. Spoiler alert for your freaking ranking coming up here.
I say Daniel Craig's best flick.
Well, that's what we're ranking. But either way,
that doesn't mean best Bond movie.
Okay. Well, the villains in this thing. Obviously, we have the Patrice, played by Mr. Ola Rapace. Is that how you say it, Chris? I can't remember what you said. Rapace.
I think that it's probably like Rapace.
Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah,
I really do think that's what it is, but I'm really not sure. You know what? Stick with that Swedish Italian thing you've got going on there. I'm almost positive that he's Swedish, so you stick with that.
All I know is just he literally took the term Skyfall to a whole nother level in this movie.
Oh, yes, he did. And we're about to learn how dangerous puns can be later in this episode. So, Brett, keep that up. Silva, our main bad guy here, is played by Javier Bardem. And, great villain. I think one of the best in the franchise, honestly.
Look at that fucking hair, too, buddy.
He's got it figured out, man. He's come a long way since mixing it up with Tommy Lee Jones and Josh Brolin back in the day.
Yeah, and I'm just telling you, he has just a great story about rats.
And it's a goddamn rat, man.
I mean, actually, you know what? He should have used that line in here. But I will say that. Do you guys remember the first time that you saw the trailer for this? Like, I knew that that he was going to be the villain, and I remember the first time I saw the trailer, and he came out with that hair, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
He's rocking it, man.
Yeah, of course.
Uh,
He's killing it no matter what.
Always killing it, and literally and figuratively. So, Chris, I know this is your favorite part of the segment throughout this entire review series.
Yes. Give me my buttes. Oh man, I really. Naomi Harris. She has a special place in my heart. Eve Moneypenny and Severin. I think is how we're gonna say that. And this is I'm gonna say that's Berenice Marlowe.
Marlowe, okay.
Yeah, if anybody knows any different, please correct me.
I think that sounds good. To be noted, I don't.
It's like fuck it. Let's just keep it.
I don't know. I mean, we obviously wanted to include Moneypenny here in this because she plays a critical role in this movie. I don't think she's actually like an official Bond girl per se from Bond standards in the an encyclopedia of Bond, but obviously she deserves this credit here for this movie because she is the primary girl that Bond outside of M. I think M gets the ultimate Bond girl label here in this movie. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Moneypenny in this one, man.
Yeah, agreed. And we didn't know that she is Moneypenny in this movie. That's why I put her on the Bond girl list, because we didn't know that towards the very end. And that's why we left her off in the Spectre Bond girls, as you'll see in the next week's episode or review on that. But I thought both of these girls did very well for their roles, especially Naomi Harris. She did a phenomenal job.
And Servine was just a waste of good scotch.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh man, that absolutely broke my heart.
Well, it literally broke her heart, like shot right in the heart. But so Casino Royale, the car, we got the Aston Martin DBS 5, and this is like what it looks like. Kind of like Brad, you could be more detail on this, but ain't this like kind of like the model of the car they used for the older Bond movies?
Same, yeah. This is the exact same one from Goldfinger, and it's actually kind of they call back to Goldfinger with the ejector seat in this movie, and it comes back obviously in Spectre. And I think it was also in GoldenEye, and it was in Casino Royale as well. Not that wasn't supposed to be the same car, but it was the same model in Casino Royale too.
Oh yeah, and it's just still a beautiful car, and I love that scene where they just brought that back along with the traditional music. But we'll get into it. So let's go ahead and get into it. So pretty much for me with Skyfall, my first memory of it is Brad. I'm not sure if you remember this, but you and I in Chattanooga, you dragged me into this thing called James Bond in Chattanooga for a $5 movie night on Tuesday, and we saw freaking Skyfall, man, and we absolutely loved it.
We did, because here's what happened. I think Bert was almost turned away forever for going to the movies after we went to go see Sinister, and I said, "Bro, come on."
No, it wasn't Sinister. It was Paranormal Activity 4.
Well, either way, Sinister came out the month before this, and we went and we saw it. And I didn't think Brett was ever going to go to the movies again. And I said, "My friend, let's just go one more time. Let's change the palette of the movies a little bit. Let's have a little bit of fun, and let's go on a Bond adventure." And we went and we saw Skyfall, man, and we never looked back.
Yeah, and it was just my first quick thoughts. Absolutely fantastic this movie is. I absolutely love it. Just the story that they tell about the next evolutionary step of the James Bond character. Just so freaking great. And later on, I'll tell you also kind of like why personally I love this movie. Chris, any first thoughts about Skyfall?
Love it, man. I love it. I remember being well excited for it back in the day. And it's got some of my favorite bits in it, man. And like you said, I like how we talked about in Quantum, how it kind of wrapped up the Vesper storyline. It was a great introduction because Casino Royale and Quantum are both, part of the same story and continuation of one another. And I think this is where it finally we start to see that next step. And I think this is where they really got it right with the blend of sort of like the old school Bond while also respecting, what they've been building with Daniel Craig. And I think they really
Mhm.
got it right with this one. It's a really good
Oh
one.
yeah, dude, I absolutely agree. They absolutely nailed it. It was perfect balance for the traditional fans and your newer fans. It's a match made in heaven. They did such a wonderful job on this movie. So let's go ahead and just go with that opening scene with the whole big chasing of James Bond tracking down or hunting down Patrice because he's got like a list of the 007s, and they cannot let that kind of information go. So they got this whole big chase scene that involved like the crowd, the train, and just take the bloody shot. Just a great opener to start with an intense chasing like that. Just have that big like oh shit moment when Naomi Harris Moneypenny shot James Bond off of that train before we got into that amazing opening title card.
Yeah, it was a great sequence. Obviously, kind of getting right into the action, like so many of these movies before it did here. But it was good. You got to see a nice chase sequence again, kind of like before with when he's chasing the dude in Casino Royale, and it's nice. You get the introduction of Moneypenny. Great set pieces here. But the one thing that kind of stood out to me immediately about this sequence was that it kind of gets away a little bit from the realism that Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace had, and it kind of starts to get a little bit into that over the top, level of action. I think a little bit. It wasn't too bad here. It wasn't, anything too crazy, but it's kind of stretching, belief a little bit. Bond gets shot not only once but twice, and the second one most definitely would have killed him. But he made it nonetheless, and you get the motorcycles on the roofs going through the windows and stuff. It was, again, it's all great to look at. It all turns out fantastic in the way it looks, and it looks great with the way Sam Mendes made it work. But again, it does kind of separate itself a little bit from what the realism that we got in Casino Royale right off the bat here. Kind of a little bit of a change in the way they want to present this character to us.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So let's not forget about it. He fell through the damn window and fought on on opposite ends of a rope in Quantum, right? I mean, come on.
That's true too.
This is a little bit more believable than that. Even though I will say for that opening little bit there, I love the intensity of it. I love that it starts that way. The CGI was a little dodgy in there, dude.
It was at times, yeah.
And some of the scenes where there's like a close up of him riding the bike, it's so clearly like a backdrop. It almost kind of takes you out of it a little bit. I wish they would have just cut those out and just used the wide shots. But outside of that, yeah, great way to open it. Sorry, Brett, I didn't mean to interrupt you, man.
No, you are absolutely good. I kind of just try to pretend that CGI is not even there. That's just a tiny bit of bias or being biased about this movie because of how much I love it. So I just tried to pretend it's not there, but I'm not going to deny that it's there because you can obviously tell. And then, Brad, you're absolutely right. This movie, probably where most people don't like it, like they are on the side of Casino Royale, is that this movie just starts to enter the part of this Bond series of being like cinematic, kind of like just being like over the top and all that. That like Skyfall starts that, but then like Spectre just takes it to a whole nother damn level, and we'll get to that eventually. And then after this amazing chasing, we got my favorite opening title and like opening credits and our opening song of Skyfall by Adele. And when I first heard this song in theaters with the big like speaker system and all that, just immediately chill bumps, just because of how much soul Adele is singing to this song. And not only that, it's just kind of like explains just like this ain't going to be your happy go-getter Bond movie. This is a dark Bond film at parts.
Let the sky fall when it crumbles.
Yeah, it's also one of my favorites as well. I will second that. I think it is actually of the Craig era. I think it's my favorite song. Well, with the exception of the one that didn't make it in there, as you guys well know. But the opening. the little animation thing. I don't the sequence, whatever you want to call it, is there's a word for it. It's escaping me, but that whole thing is also one of my favorites as well.
Oh yeah, I would go ahead and just say both of those are my number ones because, but actually, no, false. The song's number one, and then just like the animation sequence, like for that opening or for the opening credits, it's my number two. Casino takes number one on that.
Number two.
Number two.
I think for me, the song is probably second place. I mean, Chris Cornell's got that one in the bag for sure, but for the correct movies here. I did like I still enjoyed the opening. Don't get me wrong. I liked it a lot. I really like the moments right after the opening where it kind of gets Craig after the fact, where he's kind of living, the low life a little bit, retirement, so to speak, sort of, which I think is going to be very similar to how No Time to Die is going to start off, but we'll get to that point here pretty soon. I think I really enjoyed that sequence there where he's got the freaking scorpions going on and he's drinking and he's having a good time and he, obviously, we're kind of getting some stuff going on in London too, and that catches his eye and he comes back. All that stuff I thought was done really well, just adding a little bit more to his character and stuff. Just overall, I really like the setup this thing has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely has a great setup. And when I saw kind of like that little like drinking game with the scorpion, I immediately thought of Chris. I'm like, Chris is a crazy bastard enough to try this out of us three.
Man, I don't know. Even with the scorpion, I don't know. I was sitting there, I was like, man, it looks like fun. But God, can you imagine if there's like an alternative take where he's going to do it and it actually bites him and he's, oh, fuck me,
Or just like this.
It would have been funnier that way.
Or just like this. Achoo!
Yeah, I wouldn't be playing those games, man. I don't do that.
Yeah, as Brad would wuss out. I wouldn't even try it. So Chris is like, fuck it. I'm already 3 shots in, so let's go ahead and make it another.
Maybe if I was 10.
Yeah, 6, 7 minimum.
I would be going to hospital then, but yeah, Brad's right, though. The setup for this movie, kind of like the list of all the 00 agents that's out there, and that this mysterious bad guy who's an excellent computer hacker is just playing games with M, which M, Judi Dench, absolutely her best movie in this one, because she is kind of like, almost you can really say she's a main character in this. With how much screen time with how much screen time she gets in it, how important, because like we learned a lot more about her in this movie, like for the bad guy of Silva, adding more details into her character and all that. But yeah, but this is just like the start of it, because when James Bond comes back, because he's got that line of like, "Where have you been? Enjoying death." Because later, that's what he was doing. Like, he was just, living the low life and all that, just, being free. But he also just has pride for his nation. So that's why he came back to help. But he's not the same Bond as we know and love, just because he's beat up, he got shot, he's a little bit older. So my reason I love this movie so much, and it starts with all the whole training montages and all that, I just absolutely love a redemption story.
You just made me think about Rocky there for a second, like he was out there with fucking Mickey in the back and he's like chasing chickens and shit.
Judy, I can just imagine Judy Dench with like a freaking little toboggan on, going, grab it, James.
Well, you brought up Judi Dench, and we could kind of stop here for a second and talk about her a little bit. Obviously, she does get the expanded role in this movie. I think it's a great way to send off her character here, because she's been a high point since she joined the franchise. Even there's a few low points in there overall with some of the movie qualities. Speaking to Die Another Day, and a couple of those movies in that era. But she was always a high point of that ever since GoldenEye. She's always been a diamond in the rough in some cases, and always a great companion piece, mother figure to Bond, even since GoldenEye. And Die Another Day, she had a pretty big, not Die Another Day, but The World's Not Enough. She had a pretty big role in that one too. But I think this one, obviously, is even better, and it's great to see her. She is a main character in this. Her and Bond are both protagonists in this, and it's great to see her get that kind of level of of care here. And obviously I think they sent her off perfectly, and really enjoyed it. And yeah, I mean, you said it all already, man.
Yeah, it's just again, she's excellent, and this is like just an ultimate redemption story of Bond. That's why I personally love this movie the most. Just to see him like from the lowest of lows, going right back up to the James Bond that we all know and love. Towards the end of the movie, I just love a damn good redemption story. Like that's why Spider-Man 2 is way up there for me, because that's an ultimate redemption story of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man character. I could go all day on that, but we're talking James Bond and Skyfall. Chris, any words about kind of like just Daniel Craig coming back, or James Bond coming back and just doing all the the training and all that?
Yeah, I love all those sequences, all good stuff. And from the get go, you can tell the cinematography is above and away in this thing compared to. I mean, I love Casino Royale, Quantum, but the cinematography here is just on a level all of its own. But we'll get into that in a second. As far as Judi Dench goes, yeah, man, I mean, I've been preaching it since Casino Royale. I think that their relationship in the Craig era has been one of the high points for all of these for me. Judi Dench slays it every time, and it was really nice and really rewarding to see that that relationship between them really come to a climax in Skyfall. And I think that basically she's the heart and soul of this whole movie. All the emotional stakes and everything really rest on that relationship in this. So yeah, I think she killed it, man. She's great.
Yeah, she is absolutely great. Evan, do you know who's also really good in this too? Like speaking of like kind of like a passing of the torch for Judi Dench, our new M, which we'll get to later on, like in the late part of the movie, is we get our introduction to the classic male version of M. Do y'all remind me who the actor is again?
Ray Fiennes.
Ray Fiennes.
Oh
Ralph
no, I could have swore he was Voldemort. Oh shit.
Bert.
Sorry guys, you are not allowed to say for he who must not be named.
What if he walked into the office at the end and he just turns around and he's like, Harry Potter?
If it'd be like, hey, how'd you like that impersonation of Voldemort? But anyways, here's your mission, Mr. Bond. But I thought he was really good in this, and I kind of like getting to know him without actually knowing who he is until like we get towards the end, where you kind of like putting all the pieces together. I thought he did a really good job in this movie.
Yeah, he did, man. Good introduction. They kind of pulled the same. So what this movie is essentially is a transition piece. This is it's taken the you get the kind of the prequel James Bond flick and Casino Royale, rough around the edges. You get to learn about the beginning of his character and his run here as the 007 agent. And this movie transitions him into the more traditional role of Bond, and we see that a lot in this movie, starting with. We've mentioned Moneypenny kind of coming in, and they do these little twists throughout where we find out at the very end of the movie it's Moneypenny, and then we find out at the end that this Ray Fiennes guy is actually the new M, and he's now in the traditional office we see back in the Connery flicks, at the one behind the leather door and stuff like that, with Moneypenny's office out right in front. And you get all that going on. You get the introduction of Q here too. Yes. Which is another nice introduction to a classic character. So, and again, it doesn't go all the way into that territory, but you get those introductions to these characters and really just kind of setting it up to kind of pretty much reboot the franchise.
Yeah, and they did like those little introductions then overshadowed the movie. We got still straight to the point of what the movie they were telling is. That's just kind of like what we call like a little side thing. That just every once in a little bit they just enter more that part aspect of it more and more of it. At the end of it, that's when they went all out with it, which I was totally okay with that. And I'm glad you brought up Q, because I thought Q was really good in this movie, keeping up with James Bond's little quips and jabs and all that, and Q is just right able to give it back to it. I thought Q in this movie did an absolute great job.
Yeah, Q was fantastic. And one thing I really liked about the sequence with him and Q meeting each other is it's not, you're not getting all these over the top gadgets and things like this. He gets a gun and a radio, and it's.
I love the gun, by the way.
Yeah, the gun's great, and
What
the
you
line
expect an exploding pit? Yeah, I didn't. Well,
Goldeneye style, dude. I thought that was great. That was to the audience. Not only was that to Bond, but that was to the audience. And what's cool about all this stuff we're talking about right now, this transition, is it really kind of fits the theme of this movie that it's all about it's this movie's about the old ways, and we hear that come up a lot. The old
they
ways the
reference it
best.
several times. Yeah.
Yeah. Even our boy later in the movie, Chester, no, fucking the guy that watches all of Bond's guns when he's away. Damn, what the fuck was?
I just call him the keeper of Skyfall.
He's got a very easy name to. I like his name. Either
Father
way.
Mulcahy?
Yes,
That's what
it's not his name, but it's whatever. Anyway, he's talking about the knife. He's like, sometimes the old ways are the best, and you see Bond himself kind of starting to get old and see some of the effects of his age and things like that in this thing as well. And I think even Moneypenny says it when she's shaving his thing. Oh, sometimes the old ways are the best. And, you hear that come up a lot. And I think that's pretty nice. And again, that's kind of going back to the old ways of Bond here. And which is, it's pretty much the heartbeat of this movie is, getting old and still kicking ass.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Chris, what do you think about Q?
I loved it, man. I mean, I don't really have anything else to add that you guys didn't say already. I love the little one-liner on there. I remember when I watching it the first time was a little, I'm used to seeing John Cleese as Q, so I mean, it was a little bit different. I was like, okay, well, they went a completely different route. Of course, it makes way more sense this way, but yeah, I thought it was great. I liked him a lot. I think that actor did great.
Yeah, the actor did just a great job. But then, Chris, we'll get to what you said about the cinematography because James Bond gets assigned a mission to hunt down Patrice in Shanghai. Is that? Yeah, I believe they went to Shanghai.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Singapore.
I think it's actually Singapore.
It went to both.
It kind of went to both, but almost same thing. But it's just that cinematography shots where where they're on the water and the fireworks are going off and all that. I think absolutely that's the best cinematography shot. I absolutely love just that visual of that Bond going through the tunnel, just looking all smooth and all that with his tuxedo and cleanly shaved. And it's just just trying to look like the Bond of old. And I just love that whole sequence.
Yeah, it was good. That was great. I would rival that. I think for me, the most impressive shot is the sort of shadow sequence whenever he finds Patrice and he rides the elevator up and then sneaks his way in and there's the signage like on the outside of the building and there's like all these really vibrant sort of colors flowing in and out of the window. It's like creating this sort of layer of shadows in there. And I honestly don't even know how they even shot that with that much moving light and everything. But I thought that whole sequence there was fantastic. That's my favorite of the whole movie, actually. But all throughout the cinematography is fantastic, no matter where they are.
Yeah,
that one was
go ahead.
That one was a very creative action piece too. I mean, we see that a lot with Sam Mendes, man. We see it later, big time in 1917 as well. It's very very creative and fresh for the action genre.
Yeah,
This includes a lot of interesting shots like that, as far as like the old timey stuff, like Prohibition era stuff. Have you guys seen Road to Perdition?
I don't think I have.
It's actually, you know what? I never thought of this until just now, but Daniel Craig is actually in Road to Perdition.
Hey, look at that.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know him and Sam Mendes worked together before, but nevertheless, also a lot of great action pieces in that as well.
Oh yeah, and then just Sam Mendes just knows how to use that camera for sure. And then again, we're in Singapore, Shanghai, in the little gambling area. Bond's trying to get information on the big bad guy of Silva, and then that's when he meets Severin, who I consider the main Bond girl in this movie. Because kind of trying to get information out of her, just trying to woo her, which
he does kind of sneak in on her in the shower. It's a little creepy, but he did it.
Hey,
it
she
worked.
knew he was coming. She knew.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, guys, keep it clean. But
yeah,
anyways,
you said it.
She was just telling Bond, or just warning Bond that Silva is just one bad dude, and you don't want to mess with him. And he goes, "No, I'll just go mess with him." So that's when she tells Bond about where to meet and all that. Then they go to this like abandoned island. Which I thought just all of it, the whole abandoned island looked absolutely fantastic. And that is when we're introduced to one of the best Bond villains in the franchise of Silva and his complete rat story.
I mean, it's a goddamn rat, man.
I'll tell you, speaking of great shots, though, when they're coming into this island, this desolate island, this freaking neglected or this vacant, ghost town of a shell of what was once there. I thought those shots were done really well, and the score that plays there too is really good when they're kind of pulling in on that big ass sailboat. Kind of really adds attention, combination of the score and the shots there. It really adds together to be something special there when they're coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and for the record, that island is actually a real place.
Oh,
it
really?
shows.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
I actually saw a documentary about this years ago. It's called Battleship Island or something, somewhere in Japan. But yeah, really interesting. They all everyone abandoned it within like a 1 month period, and it just sat there for years. But nevertheless, yeah, one of my favorite lines of the entire movie is I absolutely love. He's like. Silva shows up, and I mean, your first instinct is like, you're super uneasy. This guy's creepy as fuck, right? He shows up, he starts rubbing on his knees, and he's like, there's a first time for everything. Craig's like, what makes you think this is my first time?
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
He
that
just
good
plays
old
it off,
classic
man.
Bonds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but let's not get away from that monologue there from Javier Bardem. There, when he comes walking down that that one take monologue when he's walking down towards him, getting a little bit closer and closer, and you can't really quite see him yet, but then he kind of walks in the frame, and that was great. That was a great sequence, and he just totally carried that right there, and yeah, again, this scene alone is one of the reasons why I think he's one of the best villains of all time.
Yeah, and it really just establishes him as a character with that, like, probably the best acted scene, because you know how hard it is to memorize that whole story about the rats, and just that one take of walking. He has to walk at a certain pace, talk at a certain pace in order to get all of it in, to get that exact same shot, like where he gets closer and closer. So that's just super impressive by him. And just that story about the whole rat, like the two rats, and that there were two left, and then all they got craving is more rats. And I just think all that it's disturbing, but it also just explains to you how dangerous Silva is as a character and how much of a threat he is, not only to Bond, but his former mentor of M, of Judi Dench, because he used to be a 007 agent as well.
Yeah, but he was a 005.
Oh, gosh.
He definitely wasn't a 7.
Yeah, well, it's just a 007 program, but yeah, 005. Yeah, the 00 program. Yeah, you're right. Screw me. But yeah, he was 005, I believe. And Chris, what do you think about good old Silva, man?
Love him, dude. I love Javier Bardem's performance there throughout, really. The only thing that I had, and it has nothing to do with his performance, but if they couldn't find a way to do like a good prosthetic of him taking the teeth out, why leave it in there the way that it was? They should have just cut the whole scene out. That CGI was absolutely horrid. Like, I was really surprised they even left it in there.
That's another moment of where this movie, I feel like, goes a little bit over the top at times with some of the stuff it's throwing off. Not too crazy, but it does go over just a little bit compared to such grounded. It's like, like I said, Casino Royale is the Dark Knight kind of Bond movie, and this kind of gets back into that, Tim Burton style Bond movie, you know, if you will, if we're comparing to Batman, just to, you know, not it doesn't quite go to some of the depths we were at before, but you know, it leans a little bit into that territory. And this little trope they wanted to throw in with the villain of Silva, it was one of those moments that kind of I was like, we didn't need that. I mean, this guy was already good enough. We don't need to add a little trope to him to make him stand out anymore.
Yeah, I think that's my only qualm with the entire thing, and that has nothing to do with his performance or the villain, really, so much as it does. I mean, for me, I don't even mind it, you know, as a component of his character, so much as I just hated the fucking CGI. And, you know, it's just like, why even leave that in there? It's almost embarrassing, but nevertheless, yeah, great villain, man. Probably my favorite. Well, I mean, obviously, we have to wait and see what Rami Malek's going to do in No Time to Die. But you know, I think that he is a really great villain.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we get that like the shootout scene too, which I thought that was very tense too, just because during still at this point, Bond is still not fully Bond. He's still, you know, shaking his hand kind of like this, just like very unsure of himself. Hey, can I still do this? Because Silva just, you know, pretty much spilled the beans out to Bond that Bond failed every single test that he was given by M, and M just hid the results from him. So that's like kind of like, is he lost his confidence and all that? And then Bond just goes, that was a waste. That was wasted scotch. And then that's when he goes all out Bond in that badass sequence shootout. And that was just, to me, one of the best scenes in the movie.
Yeah, it was super tense, man. I really enjoyed that one as well. I because you know, I mean, you didn't expect the Bond girl to die, you know, at that point. I mean, maybe at some point, maybe a little bit later on. Honestly, that whole thing was unpredictable. You know, Bond was in deep shit. We knew he had the radio, but we didn't know to what extent how he was going to get out of this thing. And we assumed they would just kind of show up and save his ass. But he kind of comes out, bust everybody up, and then they capture Javier, i.e. Silva, and it all kind of just, you know, it happened so quick, and all of a sudden he won. But did he? You know, we didn't know till later that he, you know, went out to get himself captured. So yeah, I really do. That was a very tense scene. And again, we have the old antique guns there again, referring to the old ways and stuff. Just another little thing of oldness in this movie that is getting shown out here. So just yeah, it was good. Great sequence.
Yeah, Brad mentioned this earlier, that the score in this movie is absolutely fantastic. Just the way that they chose like the certain like music to play for certain scenes, absolutely perfect. I didn't have one complaint whatsoever. I just thought the score, they nailed it throughout the entire movie.
They did in this one, man. My only complaint about it would be when it was used a second time in Spectre. But outside of that, I thought it was done really well. Loved it here. Obviously, it's not a complaint for this particular movie, but yeah, I think it works really well for this movie. It's great.
Yeah, I love too whenever they, let's see, what the last time, as far as story goes, the last bit we were talking about, the abandoned island after he's captured and the cyanide bit and all that. Obviously, he goes in and tries to kill him. And
yeah, like he had the whole plan, like he planned on being captured so he can get closer to M.
Which I'm calling bullshit, dude. You're gonna lead us on this big ass foot chase, and then you have this random ass train coming in at the exact spot you need it to, blowing through and killing Bond. Like, come on.
Yeah, dude, he's a technological hacker, so he knows where everything is.
Come on. Think about all the steps that had to go in the right track here. Literally.
I mean,
you said track.
I mean, I suppose that he was thinking, well, I'm going to be on the ladder at this time. And if Bond is here, I know the train will be above me and I can, you know, because I mean, he knew when the doors were going to open. So maybe he thought, well, I'm going to be on the ladder. If Bond is here, I can press this button and get the train to kill him. If not, I'm going to go on about my merry fucking way, right?
Well, that train would have had to come at a very specific time to work, and he's already working. Bond had to shoot his way through the door when he almost get ran over by the train. He didn't even know he was going to get in this foot chase. Let's get to that point. He walks down, like obviously he was going to escape, you know, from this little pod, but he goes down and you know, he does this whole thing where he's trying to ditch Bond on the train, and he puts on the cop outfit to kind of blend in, and all this stuff. And Bond obviously, goes above and beyond to chase him down, and he loses him at the very beginning when he puts on the cop uniform and he realizes there's so many other cops out there. He has that little giggle moment, like he's like, oh, like that wasn't something he planned. He was trying to get out of there. And they have that whole thing where it leaves Bond's ass and he jumps on the front. And he says, "Open the door, please." And he, hey, we're inspections, whatever. So yeah, I mean, all that stuff. I just, obviously the train thing was another extra moment for just having a crazy set piece in here just for the sake of it, in my opinion. But
yeah, that's true.
It's something I'm just realizing, and I'm sure you guys have probably thought of this before, but I don't think I'd ever really connected the dots. This is awfully reminiscent of The Dark Knight. Whenever
it is
a bit,
where the Joker, Heath Ledger, gets himself captured, and then he ends up dressing up like a cop later to try and shoot Commissioner Gordon. I never realized how similar that whole
and then the random ass bus hitting, like breaking through the bank.
Actually, I'm pretty sure Sam Mendes, if I'm not mistaken, he went on record saying that he actually was kind of a ripoff of Dark Knight. That was the beats of the story that he wanted to use. And now that you mention that, I think I saw that in the commentary or something that was actually, it was planned to kind of be that way. So there's actually a lot of,
I love this movie.
There's actually a lot of similarities, not just what you just mentioned. I'll have to think of some of the other ones, but yeah, it's very, that's very much a true case there.
Yeah, but nevertheless, I thought that was a cool little scene there, even though I think it's kind of crazy with the gas and everything. And she's and there yet again another beat where they're talking about how the old ways are better. Whenever they're really trying to bring the house down on M and tell her what a fucking failure she is and how her department is terrible and this, that, and the other. And then she basically goes on this rant saying that she's done this forever, done it a certain way.
Speech.
Yeah.
The speech. Yeah. You just beat me to the punch right there. I thought that is easily Judi Dench's best acted scene in the entire movie. Delivering that speech, she nailed the speech, and it just resembles again the redemption story of James Bond when she is saying that. It kind of pertains to James Bond, that whole speech, and I just thought it was perfectly placed in the movie.
Yeah, I love that sequence, man, and the way it's showing kind of Silva kind of creeping in while she's doing it, the overlays there, it was a very tense moment too.
And then Bond's weird ass running style.
He's just trying to get there, man. Who gives it? It's not as weird as Steven Seagal, and if you get the chance, I think that you should insert a small clip of Steven Seagal running right here.
If Bond doesn't make it in time, you know Steven will.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it before, you have to see Steven Seagal running. It's fucking hilarious.
Hey, here's a couple. Real quick. Here's a couple little. Go ahead and finish your thought. I want to keep looking at this real quick.
I was just gonna say, and it was nice. When we're presented with the character of Gareth Mallory, you really don't like him initially. Because he's there kind of busting Bond's balls and trying to talk to him like, hey, we're shutting you down. You need to retire. He kind of has a sort of standoff moment with Bond, and you don't really care for him that much. And then here, him and Bond are kind of covering each other, and sort of having each other's backs and stuff. So I think that this is kind of a good moment for his character.
With Mallory going up to Q going, you're creating a way for Silva to hunt them down. Carry on. That was kind of like the turning point of okay, I get what y'all are doing. It's like what you're doing, I'm on board.
Yeah, in the hearing room, he gets shot there and takes a couple guys down as well. And then later on you see him come in and he's gives the nod to Q, like, oh yeah, carry on. And I think that's a couple nice moments for his character there. But after all that bullshit happens, I circle back around to what I was initially trying to say, which was when they open the door and the old school Aston Martin is in there.
Yes.
They play the original theme, and I thought that was so badass. That's probably my favorite little clip, if you will, of the entire movie is that scene, man. I love it so much. Definitely had a Bond boner.
Yeah, then they did the whole little nod of like the ejector seat, and Judy and Emma's like, "Don't you dare!"
Yeah.
I
And
just thought it's fantastic.
even more fun moments there, yeah, between those two. So
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was the ultimate nod to the traditional fans.
yeah.
Yeah, it was
What
a
you got,
great
Matt?
callback. Great callback to Goldfinger, man. One of the best in the franchise with that sequence. Obviously, the ejector seat was a big part of that movie. And yeah, man, I just that when he opens that freaking garage and that Aston Martin's there, it's just again, old ways are better. Again, there it is. There's your old car. Freaking yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, Brad, were you going to say something before we hit into this third act and just get into the climax?
Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh. I was
Wrong
just looking
movie.
at some. Yeah, I know. I was looking at some things. I know we kind of talked about the Dark Knight similarities. It's also very similar to Dark Knight Rises in this extent too. Even though I think they came out in the same year, if I'm not mistaken. But
They did.
yeah, I think you get obviously your hero is pulled down to nothing at one point in this movie, and he has to fight his way back to to defeat the villain in the end, kind of the same way.
Batman has to work his way back.
Oh, he's thrown into, but he's thrown into the pit in Dark Man Rises.
Dark Man Rises. Wow.
Dark Knight Rises. But yeah, so that happens, and then obviously you get the orphan similarity there between Dark Knight and this as well, and the manner that we're about to see here at the end of this as well. Just a few other little things I was just kind of looking at, but there's even more to the script, components, but we won't get into that at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can actually just imagine that now, as you just mentioned it. Very great similarities. But yeah, the third act, man, absolutely great, because we are, again, like going back to the old roots. And how are we going to do that with James Bond? Going back to his orphanage home with Skyfall. Because you've been trying to figure out throughout the movie what Skyfall is, of why James Bond does not like that word very much. And just we're there. It's an orphanage, and they set up their whole battlefield like ready for Silva, and shit just gets crazy. But Daniel Craig kicks so much ass into this third act. It was just so much fun to watch.
Kincaid. That's the
God damn it! I just looked it up, dude. It was eating me up, man. I love Kincaid. Albert Finney killed that role. I can't imagine them casting anyone else but him. That guy was so good, so perfect for that role.
Yeah, and Kincaid's such a comforting name too. That's why it's always kind of stood out to me as a good name, a good character overall when they get out there. Yeah, Brett. Yeah, and this is another phenomenal sequence of cinematography here when they kind of roll into Scotland and things like that, and you have the fog rolling in, and you got the Aston Martin with Bond standing outside just like he did in Goldfinger and kind of leaning up on it, and all that stuff is great. And the house looks absolutely amazing. Digging into Bond's backstory like never before here.
Just like this picture right here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just like that. And you're digging into Bond's backstory here more than ever before. This is the most we've got to know Bond as a character since he got married back in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, I think. And yeah, I think this is, it's not something you can do in every Bond movie, but for this particular movie, it's a very strong point, I think. And yeah, man, I love that whole third act there.
Yeah, I think we forgot to mention earlier. I like how it sets up when he is going through the training exercises and they're doing all those, and he's having the
word game, yeah,
and he says Skyfall, and you can see that it triggers him, and he leaves the interview,
and then he does like bitch,
yeah, yeah, and. So I think that was a great kind of foreshadowing little bit there. And even after the entire shootout and everything happens, and you get the little Home Alone sequence there where they're setting all the little booby traps and everything because Kincaid only has the one gun,
yeah,
which I thought was kind of funny. Yeah, the whole sequence there, and of course Silva's already outsmarted him. And what song is it he plays whenever they're
Oh, I
going in?
don't know, but I thought
Is
that
it
was
the
just so fits the Silva character for him doing that. And then
Is it-
Bonds goes show off.
Yeah.
I think is it marching into Valhalla?
Could be.
remember
I
exactly
can't
what it is.
remember.
And then once all the shit blows up and Kincaid's kind of trying to get M out of there, man, that sequence of them walking as Skyfall burns to the ground, and they're walking past the fire and past the frozen lake and all that. The cinematography right there, man, is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it really is. And that house did look familiar too. Brad, I'm pretty sure that's the house she blew up.
Yeah, back in Die Hard. Die Hard 3.
Die Hard 3 opening skit.
Well, technically, you
be
blew
sure
it
to
up.
check the. Well, you gave me the. Anyways, we're not going to get into that. Like, my insurance took care of it. I'm in this nice new house now. If y'all don't know what we're talking about, go visit our Die Hard 3 opening skit so you know what we're talking about on that. But yeah, it's just. You're right, Chris. That whole like the ice thing brings tension, like intensity to that scene because you don't know when that ice was going to break. You don't know what Bond is going to do, and then of course he outsmarts everybody. Just does the whole circle bullet technique, and then just it just tells everybody to chill.
The old famous circle bullet technique. Hell yeah!
God, hey, friggin' Star Wars Episode 3 did that, but anyways. All that was great. And then just the whole big old knife in the back of Silva. That was great. And then
Old ways.
Yeah, damn right, old ways. And then
Here's the part I want to talk about.
Yeah, go ahead because I don't want to talk about the next part.
Yeah, well, this is practically something that Bert has to look like. Come on, guys! At the end of this movie, Bond kills M with a pun, and this is what's going to happen from all of us with Bird at one point in our lives because he comes in there, he waltzes in, and he says, "We got into some deep water." Next thing you know, Bond and M's dropping dead over here. I'm like, "Come on, man! You had to go in here with the freaking a one-liner like that and kill your mom." Like, let's not.
She was right on the cusp of coming back to life, and he comes in and says that, and she's like,
she's probably like, "Oh God."
Oh. But honestly, you said something earlier about Judi Dench and the speech being her best moment, and that may be the case. But I think the emotionality of Daniel Craig and Judi Dench, whenever she's dying there, man, I think they both nailed it. You definitely, felt for both of them in that scene. I think as actors, that was two great performances there at the very end in her death scene.
Yeah, and it just sucks too, like, because again, we've been such fans of GoldenEye, and that is when we are introduced to Judi Dench's M character for the first time, and we've been on this whole crazy adventure with her for all these movies, and for this to be her last one, and that emotion, like, it kind of got me a little emotional, to be honest with you, just because that's my M personally, Judi Dench. That will always be my M, and just have her like go out like that, it's just so damn sad. Even though, again, Judi Dench, just being the legend that she is, just nailed that scene.
Yeah, it's a great send off for her, I thought, though, honestly, because it really did give you another moment again of care and emotion for Bond's character as well,
and loss for Bond,
and loss, and that's only something that I think Judi Dench's character could have done at this point, especially after we know the Vesper Lynn situation. So I think having that sequence in there was, they really took advantage of her, her end of her franchise run here, and making a really great, send off, franchise cinematic moment here. I thought it was great. And then later on, we get the scene where she leaves him as her little bulldog there, which is just, again, kind of hits home the relationship that they had. She's just giving him a little, yeah, here you go.
Yeah, like, don't take a desk job.
Yeah.
But no, just all that is fantastic, and that's pretty much it for the movie. Because what comes after that is they just combine everything together. Like, you get Moneypenny, you get M, you get Brass at the Office, you get the good old classic mission, and then after Bond gets the mission, you get the good old classic what is it, Brad? The 25th anniversary of James, or the 50th anniversary
50th,
of James
yeah.
Bond. Yes, and we get that, and I thought that was an amazing little thing to add in there at the end of the movie with the good old classic Bond music to close out, and that's it. That's
Yeah, I
Skyfall.
thought. Now
Well, something good.
if I'm not mistaken, this was another one where they did the gun barrel at the end of the movie as opposed to the beginning.
They did.
And that's where they kind of complete the transition, because Spectre actually becomes the first Craig movie to where they play the gun barrel at the beginning of the movie. So that transitions it, and we'll see it when we get to Spectre. You know, this is the transition movie. Spectre is your more classic Sean Connery style Bond movie from start to finish, and it starts with that gun barrel sequence in the next movie. So I thought that does a very good thing. I got something to say about the Dark Knight thing again. One more bonus round here, guys. Let's think about this. Let's just think about this for a second. Now, we all know that Two-Face likes to flip his coins, but we also know that Javier Bardem also likes to flip his coins. So, I mean, coincidence or what?
And he kind of does have the Harvey Dent kind of hairstyle a little bit too.
I know when he was at the gas
We're going too
station.
far now.
Well, he was at the gas station in No Time to Die. No. In fucking There Will Be Blood. No. And
No Country for Old Men.
No Country for Old Men. Yeah, and he was flipping coins there, man. That was it.
Order, yeah. Don't
Dark
put it in
Knight.
your pocket.
And he had a freaking rats to tell in that movie too.
I mean, it's a goddamn rat, man.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe, but you know, that's it. I'm done. That's Fine. Great transition piece, great movie.
Yeah. So,
I was thinking
Chris,
about what it would have been like if he would have. That's exactly the response that he would have. Oh man, what's William Forsythe? What's his character? Ronnie. Yeah.
Mhm.
He meant the whole time if Silva is giving that entire speech about the rat, it cut like the camera just pans over and it's Ronnie strapped to the chair and he's like, "It's a goddamn rat, man."
Duct tape and all.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. But
I mean, it's a goddamn rat, man. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I don't have anything else to add to it, man. I enjoyed the hell out of this thing. Couple minor little things here and there, but overall, you know, I do enjoy it.
all right, so I guess there's just one thing left to do, and let's go ahead and just break my heart, you two. Let's go
Get
to the
naked
ratings.
and-
Yeah, let's just go to the ratings. And
Okay.
Chris, what would you rate this movie?
You know, like I said, I think you might have been under the impression that I wasn't a huge fan of this or something. I don't. That's not really the case. I actually like this one quite a bit. It's probably my second favorite of the batch of the Craig era, and I give it a 4.25.
Okay, that's a good score. You miss it by 0.75, but that's okay. 4.25 is still a good score. Brad,
I'm going to give this bad boy a 4.5 here in this segment. I think again, it's a fantastic movie. It's well made, amazing cinematography. Everything about it is great. Some of the over the top, you know, action sequences kind of pull it back a little bit. I prefer the more grounded sense that we got there in Casino Royale personally, and you know, some of the CGI and some of the stuff they threw in there kind of pulled it back for me a little bit.
all right, and Brad is off by 0.5, so we're getting closer. So let me go ahead and just complete that completion right there, guys. I know completion. So I'm just getting excited for my
Hell
words.
yeah.
But here we go, guys. Let me go ahead and just fix this rating for everybody. I am giving this the golden reel. I'm giving it a 5 out of 5 because, again, I love a great redemption story in the movies, and this is a very damn good, well-made redemption story of the James Bond character. Cinematography, shots are great. The score is great. We got a great feeling, great characters, great acting. You couldn't really just ask for anything more into a perfect Bond movie, and this, to me, was a perfect Bond film.
Okay, well, that's going to leave it at a Yippee Ki Yay.
Oh, yeah.
Yippee Ki Yay, motherfucker.
I really do like it, man. And it's kind of like either or for me. It's like just some of this. Honestly, for me, some of the CGI and these over the top sequences and things just kind of pull it back just a little bit. I would have
Just
changed
got to ignore him, man.
just a couple little things here and there.
Well, Brett, if you were making a movie, would you have changed the CGI or would you have left it in there?
No, I would make it as realistic as possible. And then I just know that movies today.
So there's
you can't
something you would
fully
change about
do.
this movie if you could.
No. I would keep it all in there just because I'm
You would
keeping
keep
it
the
at
CGI in
5 out
there?
of 5. I would, even though I know it's not great, but like it doesn't bother me personally. So
Okay, so CGI with that, so 4.5 out of 5, whatever. That's good. Our new scorecard rating for this is going to be complete to completion is the new title for that, and I think that's a really good name for it. That's just what you got to do is you got to complete
your completion.
we're getting the hell
Bam.
out here. Y'all are
Nah.
pissing me off. But no, I'm just kidding,
No.
guys. So, no, I'm kidding, guys. That is Skyfall, our review. Join us for next week as we tackle Spectre. And then after Spectre, the following week, we will get No Time to Die. We're super excited about that. So let's go ahead and just take you all home so we can get y'all ready for next week. So, guys, what did you all think about Skyfall here with good old Daniel Craig playing James Bond? Do you love this movie? Do you think this is the best Daniel Craig Bond movie? Or do you have some problems with it, including the CGI? Let us know in that comment section down below, and let's get that discussion rolling.
And if you want to help us find the good rules, you can just about finding us on Facebook, Instagram, Letterboxd, Twitter, Snapchat, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and TikTok. Those links are going to be in the link for you to find down there in the bottom there. So, secret agent that shit and find it.
Secret agent, man. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to sing right now. Be sure to like this video, share, and subscribe. And, of course, ring that bell. Ding, ding, ding. So you know when the next video is up and ready. Bo-bo, bo-bo.
Were you motorboat that song, Patrick? Dude?
You're
No,
supposed to fucking take us home, Brad.
Anyways, yeah, we're out here, guys, and actually, no, we're going to finish this right with the wise words of this man.
I mean, it's a goddamn rat, man.
Hell yeah.
Exactly.
Ronnie.
So until next
Such a
time,
prophet.
we'll see you later.
Till sin.